Shot and killed a 13-year-old boy in the district earlier this month has not been charged with murder.
D.C. government employee Jason Lewis faces second-degree murder charges. Police say he shot Karon Blake after catching the teen breaking into cars outside Lewis's home on Quincy Street Northeast. News 4's Mark Seagraves broke the story on social media this morning. Mark joins us live now from D.C. Superior Court.
And Mark, there are some dramatic photos and some quotes coming out of the court proceedings, including what may have been Karon Blake's last words.
Yeah, Leon, really heartbreaking when you read the arrest warrant about Karon Blake pleading for his life that evening that he was shot. In court today, Lewis's attorney argued that the case should be dropped and that he should be released, at least for home confinement. But the judge disagreed, saying that Lewis was the first aggressor that night. Surveillance photos released as part of the arrest warrant show 41-year-old Jason Lewis standing at the gate to his courtyard and firing his gun. The photos also show Karon Blake and another young person breaking into cars. According to police, the surveillance camera outside of Jason Lewis's home captured the sound of gunshots and what were likely Karon Blake's last words. Yelling, "I am sorry," numerous times, followed by "please don't" and "no." Blake can be heard yelling, "I'm a kid. I'm only 12." Today, Chief Conti told reporters while it appears Blake was running in the direction of Lewis, the first shot Lewis fired was not at Blake. It was at the getaway car in the alley.
This young man shouldn't be dead. The first shot that was fired was actually fired at someone who was sitting in a vehicle who was not an immediate threat to the person who fired the shot. So that in itself, raises issues.
According to his LinkedIn page, Jason Lewis is a 16-year employee at DC Parks and Recreation and has worked as a team programs coordinator. In a written statement, Lewis's attorney tells News 4, Mr. Lewis maintains his innocence. While this is certainly a tragedy, once all the facts are heard, I believe that a jury will find there was no crime here. Mr. Lewis has dedicated his career to mentoring and supporting youth in the District of Columbia, which only adds to how distraught he is over the death of Karon Blake. Mr. Lewis and his family offer heartfelt condolences to Karon's family and other loved ones. The arrest warrant says no weapons were found on Blake, and it says the young boy was shot multiple times. Jason Lewis made his first appearance before a D.C. Superior Court judge today, his attorney arguing that the case should be dropped and that Lewis should be released. But the judge disagreed, saying that Lewis was the first aggressor that night. Yeah, and Lewis's attorney insisting that this was a clear case of self-defense. The judge again disagreeing, ordering that Lewis remain in jail until his next court date in mid-February. We also learned a few more details from that evening. There was no conversation or physical interaction between Lewis and Blake before the shots were fired. Chief Conti says he has now revoked Jason Lewis's gun carry permit and permit to own a gun and will confiscate any other weapons he might have. And you'll recall when this first came out, police reported that Lewis, when they arrived on the scene, was found giving CPR to Blake after he had shot him. We found out today through the court that it was after he had shot him, he went back in his house, called 911, and it was the 911 operator who instructed Lewis to perform CPR. That's the very latest here from D.C. Superior Court.
He took my baby, my firstborn, and it's messed up, but I gotta live with that. But I really hope that I get justice for my child, and I hope that this man is convicted to the highest. Justice for Karon.
Amen. Sam, can you tell us how you felt when you read or were conveyed the last words that your son said?
Devastated. I was devastated. That hurt me to the core. I did the funeral. I buried him. So it was like a little relief, just a little bit. And when I heard that yesterday,
started
Startling new video tonight showing the moment a D.C. government employee shot and killed a teenager in the district. We want to warn you, this video may be hard to watch. Surveillance video from January 7th, 2023 shows Jason Lewis walk outside of his home on Quincy Street in Northeast holding a gun in his hand. The video then shows Lewis aiming the gun. He takes one shot, as you heard there, pauses, and then fires several more times. This evening, Lewis was found guilty of manslaughter for killing 13-year-old Karon Blake. While the jury convicted Jason Lewis of manslaughter, they found him not guilty of second-degree murder. News 4's Paul Wagner was inside the courtroom when that verdict was read.
Good evening. There was no emotion inside the courtroom here at Superior Court when Jason Lewis was told by the foreman of the jury that he was guilty of manslaughter and 5 other charges. Karon Blake's family wasn't here, and Jason Lewis's family wasn't here, and he had no reaction to being told he was guilty. Jason Lewis took the stand in his own defense on Wednesday and told the jury he feared for his life when he opened fire outside his Northeast home in the early morning hours of January 7th of last year. Lewis said as he opened the gate to his patio, he saw a gun pointed at him from the driver's side of a car parked in the alley. He says he saw a flash and heard a bang. He then fired twice more when he says Karon Blake came running toward him. A camera outside the home recorded the 13-year-old saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm a kid, I'm only 12. But prosecutors told the jury there was no evidence anyone had shot at Lewis that morning, and when questioned by the police, Lewis never said anything about it. In fact, he never asked the police to look for evidence someone had been shooting at him. When asked by prosecutors why he never told the police, Lewis said he was in shock. Video played for the jury shows Lewis did not immediately try to help Blake lying wounded on his front lawn and did not immediately ask for EMS to come to the scene. Police say Blake and 2 others were breaking into cars that morning and had arrived in a stolen car. Prosecutors wanted Jason Lewis locked up immediately, but the judge decided against it, saying that Lewis could remain free as long as he was on GPS monitoring. He will be sentenced on October 25th. Outside D.C. Superior Court, Paul Wagner, News 4.